Hello all and welcome to Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on part 8 of our jacket, making the sleeve. Now if you are joining us new, don't forget to subscribe, be a part of our channel. We are creating an annual project and it is an annual project, so you need to wait until mid-December for this project to finish. Okay, so we are so close to finishing though, guys. Today we are making this sleeve and then you are going to make the second sleeve on your own. Now you might be looking at my sleeve thinking, wait a minute, for the measurements that she is working on, her sleeve should look like this, maybe with a couple more for length. Well, guess what? I have a very short arm. So I have adjusted my sleeve in the length to suit me, which I show you how to do within this tutorial. So get excited, guys. You're not only doing your own sleeve, you can also change the sleeve to suit your length. And this is the original width of the extra large. I'm not saying that I'm extra large, but that's the width of the, don't you love it, of the extra large in the tutorial. But guess what? The width of my upper arm is way bigger than that. So I made another row of squares just for me. Now mine does come across really loose now, but that's better to have it really loose than having a jacket pulling like that because I made it too tight. All right, I don't want a tight jacket, and I show you how to change, oh, I just pulled that now, and I show you how to change the width as well as the length of your jacket to suit your measurements. Okay, so we're going to talk about measurements within the tutorial, but for now what you will need is between 9 and 20 squares depending on your measurements, and you can see those measurements in the moment but not now. You will need your scissors, you will need the brown yarn or the yarn that you're using for your border round. You will need the same of that. You will need just 2 stitch markers, only 2, and I've thrown one away. Oh, look how many I've picked up. There you go. You will need only 2 stitch markers, any stitch markers you have in stock, paper clip, safety pin, piece of thread. You don't have to have a lot of gear to make this jacket. You do need the yarn, of course, yeah. And of course, you will need your squares, which we talked about a moment ago. And what else can I say? That's about it, guys. I'm not going to talk anymore because this tutorial goes for a very long time. All right, so head off on your own and create the first sleeve now. Good luck all. Alrighty guys, just real quickly, I'm fighting the builders here at the moment, the amount of noise the next door neighbours the builders are making. But real quickly, we're going to talk about 2 things in a minute. I'm going to show you up on the screen how many squares each size roughly needs. But if you want to work on your own measurements, this is what I'm suggesting. This particular part of the jacket, if you can see carefully, it sits on the shoulders there, but it is about, I don't know, let's say a couple of inches off your shoulders. And a lot of people say measure from the inner arm out to your sleeve for the length, but this goes over our inner arm by about, I've got the wrong size for starters, by about, I don't know, let's say about 7 centimeters or even 3 inches if you think about it. So it's 3 inches away from your underarm. So let's say that would be my underarm. If I was going to do 3 inches away, it would be roughly there. All right, and pretty much most jackets that you do with crochet will be roughly around there. So the measurement you're actually taking, if you wanted it to be personal, it would be from there, you know, give yourself 3 inches off from the inner side of your underarm. Yeah, 3 inches there. So roughly around there, you're measuring to about, I don't know, 2 inches off. We're going to make a long sleeve. However, you can actually adjust yours to be a shorter sleeve if you like. So let's say for argument's sake, I've measured 32 centimeters or 12.5 inches. For me, 32 centimeters, 12.5 inches, well, it's actually 33, 34 if you think about it, is the right size for me. And I'll explain that real quickly to you. And so you can see it. I've already done one sleeve. Okay, so it sits there. It doesn't sit all the way up here because your jacket is all the way up here. Yeah, so you've got 2 squares that are down to about there. So my sleeve, even lower, will go there and then I'll have 5 centimeters to 7 centimeters, whatever that is in inches, 3 inches or something left to make the ribbing. All right, so focus on that. If you wanted to measure for yourself, so I'll show you real quickly on the mannequin, from there to there is your sleeve, right? So you're measuring it from the top of your shoulder now right to the very tip. If you are going to measure your sleeve complete, that would be it. But you're not. We're measuring from about 3 inches away from our underarm. Yeah, so 3 inches away from the underarm. If you think about it, your underarm is here. We don't wear our jacket like this. No one wears their jacket like that. Yeah, unless they're wearing a tight jacket, but ours isn't. It's a nice loose fitting jacket. So you're measuring from, there's your chest, there's your underarm. You're measuring from 3 inches away from your underarm, and from there to there is what you're measuring, and then we're having a long ribbing. However, if you measure yours and it's, say, a few centimeters or an inch bigger than the 3 squares across or the 4 squares across, add another square. You can make your ribbing a little smaller or a little shorter. All right, that's for your length. Now I'll show you a length up on the screen in a moment. If you don't want to do all this, just follow the lengths you see up on the screen in a moment. Alrighty guys, so now that you know the amount of squares you need for your sleeve, we're going to start with the first row. Now the first row is the sleeve from your wrist all the way up to your shoulder, okay? So you will either have 4 squares or 3 squares. Some of you may even have 5 squares for your length, all right? But it doesn't matter what you have right now. All I want you to do right now is grab 1 square. Now you want to start where you feel like starting. I'm going to start right, I'll start right here. And I will pop my hook in any corner of our square. I'm going to pop it in the corner before our thread. You've seen all this done before, but I'm going to show you anyways, all right? So what I'm going to do real quickly, we're going to make this part real fast, and I've got a knot, she says. I don't know how these things happen. I don't know. All right, so moving right along, pop your thread over your hook. Now let's get a little closer here. And pull that thread through like normal, grabbing the tail of your thread, just passing it forward. It kind of locks it into place for us to chain 1, 2, and 3. Grab a stitch marker. Now this is a stitch marker that's going to stay in this stitch right here until the very end of our sleeve. So yarn over our hook, we're going to pop our double crochet in there. Now you know how to do this. Double crochet US, treble UK, in you go, pull a loop through, 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Yarn over your hook and in the space for your second double crochet, but it's actually your third because you are using your chain 3 here as your first. All right, now you're going to chain 1 and 2, yarn over your hook, do 3 more double crochets all in the same space. Now I can't remember if I did the start this way or if I did it where you just attach the chain 2 and slip stitch into there, but it doesn't matter because we can start any way we want. It's not a problem. So passing your tail at the back now, we're going to weave that end in later, but for now all you're going to do once again is jump into each space across your side, popping 3 double crochets, or 1, 2 and 3. No chaining, we're just jumping into every space with 3 double crochets. I am rushing this part because you know how to do this, guys. I'm not going to waste your time. You know how to do this bit. You've done it with the jacket. And if you haven't done it with the jacket, guys, head off and make the jacket part first, which is the fronts and the backs of your jacket, and then meet us back here and do the sleeve, all right? Pop your hook in the space with the knot. You can grab that knot, whoops, grab the knot and just pass it at the back like that, holding it on in your hands at the back. Now you don't have to do this is what I do, and just do your first double crochet, and as you're doing it you can let go of that thread. Okay, and your second and your third, and then you're jumping into the first corner with your corner set of 3 double crochets. Sorry about that noise, guys, that's the stitch marker. I'm trying to be as quiet as possible. It's hard, the stitch marker on the table. Okay, so let's do the next 3 double crochets. It's 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and nothing's changed when it comes to making this part of the jacket. All right, and then what I want you to do, okay, so you're not watching me, I'm going to pop this on fast. I just need to get some thread, and I want you to do the same here. Do your sets all the way across, get to your first corner, but don't complete it. All right, just wait there for me. I'm going to pop this on fast. I'm going to do our sets across, and off we go. And 3. All right, so I've asked you to get to the corner. This is the corner we just did. So you hop into the corner and you do your 3 double crochets only. 2 and 3, and then you chain 1. All right, grab your next square. You're going to do what we did with the jacket and attach to your next square. All right, so what we're going to do, just place your knot up the top. It's a lot easier to crochet over it later. All right, or you can place it this way, whichever suits you. A normal double crochet in that first corner. So yarn over your hook, pop your hook in the corner and do a double crochet. Don't leave this too loose and don't pull it too tight, yeah? Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then do a second double crochet. And then do your third. Yep, and before you continue, you grab your squares and you face them to each other, like that. Picking it up, and now you're going to be slip stitching, and you know this because you've done it with the jacket, into the first space you see there. Pull a loop through. Pull it through to the loop on your hook. Don't leave this too loose and don't pull it too tight. Keep your tension the same throughout your work. Yarn over your hook, jump into your very next space, not the same corner, your very next space, and do a cluster set. 1, 2, and 3. Grab the other side. You are already in this space. Jump into the next space with your slip stitch. Okay. And then you're doing your set in the next space on the front square. All right. Now you have done all this with your jacket. with your backs and your fronts. So I'm just going to get you past this spot here. I'm trying to rush it now. By rushing it, she's making more mistakes. 2 and 3. All right, almost there. We've got a space before the corner. Looks like it's not going to make it, but it will. 2 and 3. There's your space on the other side. Pull your loop through like so. Yarn over your hook. Jump into the corner with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. Slip stitch into the corner. Pull a loop through. Pull it through to the loop on your hook. Chain 1. Turn your work, complete that corner cluster with 3 double crochets in the corner. And what you have done is you've just turned your work around. You've done that. All right. You've worked along here. It's pulling just a little bit. That's okay. That'll straighten out in a minute. You've worked along here. You've chained one, slip stitched in the corner, chain one, turned your corner, and now you're going to work along this piece here. All right, so what I'm going to do, so that you're not watching me do this, it'll take forever, I'm going to pop a stitch marker in this corner. So pop a stitch marker in that corner, continue along the way, do your corner, get to this corner right here, meet me there in a moment, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, so we were here before. I asked you to get along this way, do your corner, get to your next stitch marker, which we've done, okay? So what we're going to do now is, remove that stitch marker. We don't need it there anymore. We will need it again in a moment, but yarn over our hook. We're doing our 3 double crochets in the corner, 1, 2, and 3. And this is where we were before. We're going to do the same. Chain 1, grab your very next square. All right, let me get another one because that one doesn't have a tail. It doesn't really matter, okay? But just to show you, the way I'm putting my tails is I'm working in the corner of the tail, just after the tail. This way later, when we crochet all the way down, we can crochet over the tail and weave them in under the stitches. Just making it a little easier for you to actually not worry too much about the tail in this situation, all right? In some joins, you have to worry about the tail, especially when you're doing a solid join. But we're not doing the solid join, we're doing the granny cluster join. So yarn over your hook, you're going into the corner like we did before. You are making your first double crochet, your second double crochet, your third double crochet, and then you are facing your squares to you. Go to the very first space you see, pop your hook in, pull a loop through, pull it through to the loop on your hook, yarn over your hook, skip over your 3 that you've got there, your 3 trebles there, and jump into your next space doing your cluster set of 3 double crochets. So you've slip stitched into your first one, you want to slip stitch into your second one like so, yarn over your hook and into that next space you're going to pop your 3 double crochets. Now I'm going to stop it right here. All right, so what I want to do, and I want you to do this, I want everyone to do this, is grab your stitch marker and pop it down at the base of this square. All right, because you pretty much know what you're doing. You've done this one right here. You're going to continue to do that one right there. Then you're going to meet me back here and we're going to talk about how many squares that you will need through your length, what's going to happen for the rest of your sleeve. We'll do that right now. Do that section right there. I'm going to leave a timestamp here right now where this one here was. And you can start from there, work your way around here, meet me back here once you're done, and get ready to find out what's happening with the rest of your sleeve. Alrighty guys, so I asked you to continue that section there, the way we did this one, and right now you should be here. If you're struggling with this, make sure you have done your fronts and your backs first, because that explains this a little further. It gets a little bit more thorough. Okay, so in the first corner you are doing 3 double crochets like so, and I want everyone to chain their 1 like normal. Let's remove that stitch marker for a moment and let's talk measurements real quickly. You already know what you need for your measurement, but just in case, some of you may have chosen to have a fairly long sleeve where your ribbing will be that small. Then if that's the case, you have to do another square the same way you've done this one and this one, all right? But some of you may have really long arms, and when you do this extra square, it will be just enough to have a long ribbing as well, all right? But for me, I'm a little tiny girl, yeah? We won't talk about that. My height is not of consequence here, but we are going to move right along, and I'm going to stop at the 3 squares, leaving me a fairly long ribbing. entirely up to you. You can do the 4 if you like. The pattern suggests to stick to 3 for the smaller sizes. I can't remember what I said there. All the information is down in the description box down below. It'll be time-stamped here so you'll know what I'm talking about. But for those of you who need to do another square, please go and do that now and join us back here when you are done. But for the rest of us, let's move right along. Get excited, guys, because you are going to start doing this side of your work. Now, you may have already remembered it from last time, but in case you've forgotten, we've already chained 1, chain your second one, complete your corner like normal with your 3 double crochets. Yeah. And then you're going to do your cluster sets in each space like you've been doing all along. And there's the tail. Pop your hook there. You can either just pop it at the back or hold it in your hand and start your set. Just drop it. Once you've started your set, you can drop the tail. You don't even need to hold it throughout the whole set. Yeah. And we're going to weave that in as well. It's not enough you've crocheted over it. That also needs to be weaved in. Just a quick heads up, yeah. Now, we are at the corner. Now, you've done this before with your fronts and your backs. We're going to do it again. 3 double crochets in the corner. 1, 2, and 3. I sound like I'm rushing it because you know this part. Chain 1. Don't forget to chain 1 before you do this bit. Now, once again, I did mention in the fronts and the back of the jacket, you can either go over the space with a slip stitch, or, which is what I've been doing, you go into that chain 1, the stitch, right, where you've got your 2 loops on top, 1 on the bottom, and you slip stitch through. I like that better. The look of it is better, but you can go through the space if you like. Chain 1, don't forget that chain 1, and then you finish off this corner set with your 3 double crochets. And I'll show you real quickly what you've done. You should know this again because you've done it in the other parts of the series. All right, look how gorgeous that looks. I love this join as you go. I really do. There is the other one, which is a more solid join where you are joining each double crochet into each double crochet that way. That is in our other blanket, and that's the picture of our other blanket. I will leave the link to that blanket in the description box down below, or the more section down below, and you can actually check that join. If you've already done this join with the rest of your jacket, then stick to it. Otherwise, you have the solid join as well. All right, so guess what? That's pretty much it. You are going to continue along the way doing your 3 double crochets. I'm going to pop that on fast until we get to that corner, and off we go. And then we're jumping into our corner space, the first corner, with 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Remember the chain 1? Slip stitch again, either in the space like so, or in this chain 1, which I like to do, like so. Just thought I might have split that, but I didn't. Yep. Chain 1 again to get out of that corner, jump into the corner on the opposite side, complete your 3 double crochets, 2 and 3, and just get to there. All right, so what I want you to do, I'm going to pop it on fast. I don't want you to go around, just get to that spot right there. All right, and off we go. I'm going to pop this on fast, and I'll meet you there in a moment. And we're in the space before the corner doing our 1, 2, let's move that out the way, and 3. And now for this corner here, we're not going to complete the corner, come back and slip stitch. We're not doing that. we're going to start the corner like we would any of these corners. So do your 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. Grab another square. What we're going to do now is we've completed 1 row of our sleeve, or some of you may have the 4th square. That is normal. If you are one of the larger sizes, the taller sizes, if you will have that extra square. There's nothing wrong with that. Just means you would have had to have made a few extra squares for yours. All right. So what you need to do, oh, there we go. I couldn't find it. Is grab your next square. You are going to pop your squares down this way now. All right. So first one, starting just like we did over here. Yeah. Or we're so far away. Hello. Here we go. All right. So all you're doing is popping your first cluster set in that corner. 1, 2, 3. Face your piece to you. So you're now facing that one that we just did to this one. All right. So you find the first space, slip stitch to join. It's a bit loose for me. I'm just going to tighten mine up a little. Slip stitch to join. Do your next cluster. 2, 3. I may have done this cluster too loose as well. I might have to fix this off air, but you keep going and slip stitch into the very next. Okay, and you're going to slip stitch into your next one, and hopefully everyone is close to this section here where we're going to do our next cluster set in the corner. All right, so what you would have done was that. Oh, hold on. There you go. Let's try that again. You should be right there. For those of you trying to catch up, there you go. All right. So now we're going to do our corner. Now know that the corner here is a tiny little bit different. Doing the clusters are the same. So do your normal cluster in that corner. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1. All right. So what you want to do here, and you've done this with your fronts and backs, but once again I'll show you. You want to slip stitch this corner to the opposite corner, not this part here, just the opposite corner. When we put the next square, we're going to slip stitch that to the opposite corner. Now once again, you pretty much know what you're doing, but it can be a little confusing sometimes. So first thing you're going to do, normally you would go into that corner, you're going to skip that corner, jump over your seam line, go into the next corner, slip stitch like normal. Now you need to make sure you don't do this too loose. Don't do it too tight either where it pulls. Chain 1, turn your piece, and you're going to complete this side. So let me show you where we are. You're going to complete that side. So again, don't leave this too loose. Go in there and do the rest of your corner of 3 double crochets like so. Jump into your very next space. And sometimes it's easy to miss this next space. Be careful, yeah? All right, so I did pop that on fast because I didn't want to waste your time. Yep. So what you now have is that. All right, so that's what you have, yeah? So now, very simple, what you're going to do here, attach another square. The same way you've done with your other sides, but this square, once again, is going to be a little different did we chain? Well, we haven't done our corner yet. Well, excuse me, Mary. Do your corner. Hello. Do your corner first. 3 double crochets. Like so. Chain 1. Yep. Grab your square. Now this one I've had the tail weaved in because I used it for something else. We're just playing around with it as you do. Let's find the spot where the tail was. And that's where the tail was because I can see all that thickness there. So you're going to do your set like normal. 1, 2, 3, like normal. I'm going to tighten that up. I know why I did this because I did it wrong in the beginning. Yeah, but they don't need to know that. Shh, Mary. She says too much, doesn't she? She talks too much. All right, here we go. So now what you're going to do, once again, you're going to place your work this way and you're going to slip stitch in the first space on that side like you were adding a normal square, you know. And off you go doing the rest of your side like so. Cluster in your first space. I'm sorry, that's actually your second space if you're counting the corner as your first. So skipping that first because you're already in there, slip stitch into the second space like so. Let's move it all out the way so you can see better. Cluster into your next space. All right, you're going to pop this on fast until we get to our corner and off we go. Continue along the way. All right, now I'm at the corner area. Let's get a close-up for you. Oh no, we'll leave it there because I'm going to show you in a minute. But I want to do my first corner. So do your 3 double crochets in that first corner. Chain 1. All right, the reason I didn't want to bring it up so close is to show you this. I think I've just pulled my chain 1 out. Excuse me, Mary. Let's try that again, chain 1. All right, so this is where you are right now. All right, that's what we just did from there to there. Now remember before how I told you had to slip stitch across this way, turn it to the side, you need to slip stitch across to the opposite side. So these two have been slip stitched together. You want to slip stitch these two together. So you're jumping over a lot there. And I'm going to get a real close up to show you this. So you'll hear these two are attached, yeah? The one that's not attached is right opposite you. Pop your hook in. And you're going over all of that thickness. See that thickness there? So you pop your hook in, you pull your loop through, tighten it up a little and pull it through to the loop on your hook. Don't forget to chain 1 here. Jump into the same corner that you are in. Complete your corner. Let me get rid of that fluff first. Hello. Double crochet. 1, 2, whoops, that's a half double, Mary. 2 and 3. And what you have and what you've done is that. All right, so all 4 corners should now be attached. Now you're going to attach this square to the rest of your side. Now you've just done your corner. Make sure you don't go into that space. It's very easy to accidentally do that, right? You want to go into the very next space right there and slip stitch like that and continue along the way. Now, if you found that these little tails here annoy you, you can weave them in first. Otherwise, just leave them there. It doesn't seem to annoy me. You can accidentally crochet over them again, and it can be a little bit messy under there. So if you want to weave yours in first before you do this section, by all means, you can do that. Otherwise, I'm just going to do that. Hold it down, pop your, once you're in, and then it doesn't bother you anymore. that was the corner done. Chain 1. Now, before we continue, let me show you what you've done. All right. Now, it's pulling a little bit. That's normal. That's normal for now. It will sort itself out. Having my jacket sit on the mannequin for so long, I've noticed it's already sorting itself out. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add our very next square. All right, so we're going to add our very next square. So what we want to do, let's continue real quickly. And once again, I'm going to show you that what you're going to do here, make sure you've chained your slip stitching, remember, to the opposite side, not to the first one. So if you have to think about the written pattern, it says ignore your first corner, slip stitch into your second corner. All right. Chain 1 out of that corner. I had to tighten that up, sorry guys. Chain 1, turn, and do your next 3 double crochets in the same corner that you are in. All right, now you're not attaching this to anything because you need to grab your next square in a minute, but you are going to complete this side. So let's pop this on fast and get to that very next corner, and off we go. Two and 3. That was my second last space on this side. I'm going to hop into the corner doing just 3 double crochets for now. Chain 1 only, grab your very next square. All right, so what you're going to do is, like you've been doing all along, let's grab that tail at the back there, move that out the way for a minute, is just start the corner where your tail is, yeah? So start it there, do your 3 double crochets, grab your very first space right there and slip stitch into your first space. Remember, your work is now facing each other now, yeah? Jump into the next set or the next space with your next set of 3 double crochets. Make sure you don't go into the same space you're in. Slip stitch into your next one like that. And we're just going to continue along the way. Once again, I'm going to pop this on fast until you get to this corner, because then we're going to join there. All right, so off we go doing our next set. All right, so we are now, let's get a close up here, bring it right up. We're now near the corner. We're going to do the first corner cluster set of 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Up, chain 1, make sure you chain your 1, yeah. Now remember, here you went across this way, so this one you have to go across this way. So keep it together. These are the 2 that you've already slip stitched. Separate your next corner, pop your hook in that corner, pull the loop through like so, and pull it through to the loop on your hook. Chain 1, it's a little awkward, yarn over your hook, continue your cluster corner set. Let's move all this out the way so you can see what I'm doing. Of 3 double crochets for now. Just do the set like so. All right, and once again, there we go. Try that again. Yep. So there you go. So you have now joined your corner. You've joined your corner here. You've joined your corner there. You're going to continue along the way. you're going to get to this stitch marker right here. Oh, what am I doing? We may as well just do this together. It's only a few sets. So once again, I'm going to pop this on fast and get to that first corner. All right, you come to. So in the meantime, make sure all your tails are out the way because you don't want to have to crochet over them again. Slip stitch into the very next space and then jump into your next space with your cluster set. And 3, I'm actually in the corner, guys. So what you should have is that. Yeah, all the way here. I've gone into my corner. Chain 1. Once again, what are you going to do? Slip stitch into the corner, like so. Chain 1 to get out of it. Always remember to chain 1. Turn your piece. Do your 3 double crochets in the same corner that you are in because you're completing this part here. All right, and then we're just going to jump into every space all the way across until we get to this corner, and I'm going to pop this on fast and off we go. And hop into the corner with your first cluster set. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, pop a stitch marker in here and get ready for explanations. Okay? All right, so let's bring that down. Hopefully I was in frame there. All right, so what are we going to do now? Exactly what you've done here with these 3 squares, you need to do your next 3. But if you are doing 4, make sure you're doing 4. All right. If you're doing 5, make sure you're doing 5. It depends on your size. And as you can see, I haven't washed and blocked my squares. This one here is not even weaved in. There you go. So I'm going to head off on my own and wash and block these squares tonight and join you back tomorrow. But you guys, when you come back, once you've finished your squares, it'll be the same moment for you. However long it takes you to attach the 3 squares is the time we'll be returning. So I'll meet you back here in whatever, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. For me, it's going to be the next day. All right, so your job is to continue doing these squares. I will leave a timestamp. Well, let's do it here, right here. Yeah, and you can do from this section here, you go down this way and you attach your next set of squares and you should be right here. So what I want you to do is attach them. This is the way we normally attach. So you remember, you know, you start down that way with your little tails are always started down there, yeah? So what you're going to do is simply that. You're going to crochet down this way, turn, add your next square, add your second square, add your third square, get to right here. There. Get to right there in that corner. All right, so your job now is to crochet all the way down, get to this square, attach this one, attach your second one, attach your third one, get to here, crochet to the top where you are right there now. You will be right there. Wait for me right there and get ready for what's going to happen next. All right, head off on your own, attach these 3 squares. I'll meet you back here in just a moment. Alrighty guys, so I asked you to do that extra row and get to, let's have a close up, get to that top corner. We were there before, but now we're up here in that top corner, yeah? And let's remove the stitch marker for a minute, yeah? And in that top corner, you are popping your normal set of 3 double crochets. You probably already have yours done, but I'll do mine quickly now. 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. From here, you are chaining 2, 1 and 2, because we are going to now work along the side edge like we've been doing all along. So quickly do that. What I might do, let's just do the 3 double crochets. Seems like a bit of a way to go. So I might let you head off on your own and just do this side. But what I want you to do is get to, bring that out a little bit, that's better. Get to this spot right here. Okay, so crochet all the way down. Once again, when you get to this corner, it's 3 double crochets, chain 1, slip stitch into the center there, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and so on. All right, so do this side here, get to this stitch marker right here, and get ready for some big instructions. Alrighty guys, so I asked you to get down to this section here. So what I want everyone to do first, before we do anything else, let's remove my stitch marker. Let's all do just one set in the corner, which is 3 double crochets, and just pull up the loop for a minute. Pop your stitch marker in that loop. All right. We're going to discuss, oh, did I just split the yarn? No, I didn't. It looked like I did. We're going to discuss measurement real quickly. Now, what happens here is, this is now the width of my arm, my upper arm, all right? Now, what I'm going to do quickly is go to the craft room and take our upper arm measurement. So let's do that right now. So for the width of your arm, if you don't want to follow the measurements you see up on the screen, and I'll explain that to you in a minute, all you need to do is grab your measuring tape, measure the widest part of your arm, yeah? Then, when you see me doing those squares across this way, let me take this undone. We can make this the width, which it is the width. 3 squares across was supposed to be the width for my size. Now I explain in the tutorial in a moment how mine was a lot bigger than 3 squares, so I had to add an extra square to make it 4, and I will explain that now. Alrighty, so now that you know your upper arm measurement, know that when we first started our piece, we started down here. That is where our wrist is. So our upper arm would be right at the top here, yeah? So what I want you to do is remember your measurement. Take your measurement from one part of the square to the other. Now for me, I've tightened up my crocheting, right? So my measurement is 33.5 or just over 13 inches. Now I know for a fact that I'm bigger than that. Okay, so I'm going to struggle with this sleeve. So my suggestion for me would be to make another row of squares. That will make it maybe 5 to 7 centimeters bigger than what I need. So we would be around 2 inches or 3 inches bigger than what I need. But that would give me leeway for my arm to move. If by any chance yours measured, let's say your piece here measures 35 centimeters, right? And you are 35 centimeters around your arm, or 14 inches roughly, that would be too tight for you. So you would need another row of squares. If by any chance your piece measures, well, just say 35 centimeters again, or 14 inches, and you are way over here, you might need to take that one row of squares off. So let's say you're 20 centimeters, yeah, and your piece measures 35 centimeters. Well, you're 8 inches and your piece measures 14 inches. it's going to be way too big for your sleeve. You may need to take off a row. However, I would suggest extra small and small to keep 3 squares. You need leeway to move your arms, okay? But for anyone more than 34 or 35 centimeters, you need a 4th square, okay? So I'm going to need to do another row of squares for the width of my sleeve, all right? Not the length. The length we've already worked out before, but for the width, which goes around my arm like this. So if you want to know, it goes like that, right? Even now you can see it just with a little bit of leeway there. Imagine it going all the way up. It doesn't go for me. So I need to do one more row. So what I'm going to have to do is this. 1, 2, and 3. So I will, and this has changed my size, the pattern of my size. This has changed it to suit my size. Sadly for me, that my measurement is larger than the measurement of the pattern that I'm working on. So I'm working on extra large at the moment, all right? So that my chest, my waist, my hips, everything fits perfectly except my upper arms. So I need to do another row of upper arms. So this is how I said earlier in the piece that we're going to change our pattern to suit our body. So if you were, let's put it this way, quite a few years ago I made an extra small cardigan for a lovely young lady. She was 18 at the time, and I made her an extra small because she had the tiniest waist, hips, chest measurement. Everything was so tiny. I completed the whole jacket. I was so happy with it. I put it on her. It did not fit her sleeves. Her armhole was the size of, and get this, she was extra small everywhere else, but her armhole edge was the size of an extra large on the Craft Council measurement. So the main measurement list told me that she needed to be an extra small on her arm because she was an extra small everywhere else, but she was an extra large. So I had to take the whole sleeve undone, 2 sleeves by the way, because it was complete, yeah? The 2 sleeves undone and the ribbing and everything because I messed up, and added an extra 3 squares. So her upper arm measurement is the same as mine. All right, so quick heads up there. If you want to change the size to suit you, do that now. Remember your upper arm measurement, whatever that is, measure across the top, and if it's bigger than 13 inches or 33 centimeters, then you need to do yet again another square. So this piece is 13 inches or 33 centimeters. Yours might be 35, 14, it doesn't matter. Let's work on 35 for the sake of working on 35, which is right there. If your arm circumference is exactly 35 or 14 inches, you need to add another square. You need ease. You need to be able to move in your jacket, all right? If your arm circumference is 30, you could probably get away with having the 4 squares if your squares measure 35 centimeters, yeah? Okay, so what I would suggest to do, if it's more than 33 or 34 centimeters, do a 4th row. However, if you've measured your arm circumference and it's like, I don't know, let's try 50 for the sake of trying 50. Look at that. Or at least 19 inches, yeah? Look at that. That's 2 more squares. You need 2 more rows, 1 and 2. Only if it's more than, say, 45 centimeters, okay? Anything more than 45 centimeters, if your pattern does not, like if your 4th square, let's add that 4th square for the sake of adding it. For me, I think it's about 10 centimeters or 10.5 centimeters. So it would make 17 inches or 43 centimeters. But if you were 42, let's say if you were 16.5 inches, you would need to add another square, all right? So add the amount that you need across here that is the size of your upper arm, all right? Give yourself, and here's a little bit of an example, give yourself at least 2 inches more for your piece. So really, my piece should measure that. And it's only half a square, okay? You could find a way to do your half a square. There is a way to do half a square of this. It would be too confusing. I'll just do the full square and have a little bit more leeway so it doesn't pull when I'm wearing it. It doesn't pull my jacket at the back and at the sleeve and it really looks tight. I don't want that. All right. So I'm going to do yet again another section of squares right now. All right. It'll be a second for you, but it'll be, I don't know, 20 minutes for me or half an hour for me to get that next set of squares on. So if you need to do your extra set of squares, head off on your own, get all the way down to this section right here where we are now. Meet me there in a moment and then we will continue our sleeve. Alrighty guys, here I am at the end of my extra set of squares. Now that wasn't necessary for everyone, it was for me because my upper arm is bigger than the average measurement. So let's measure it now quickly. And this is just a rough measurement of 43 centimeters or roughly 17 inches. But for me, I was, let's just say, probably 2 inches or 2.5 inches more than that I need. But that will give me, if you think about 2.5 inches, we'll do 2.5 inches. If you were to divide that in half, that only gives me a few centimeters or an inch and a half. Well, about an inch and a half leeway. So you need the space in between your underarm and your jacket part as well. All right. So quick heads up there. Make sure that it suits or fits around your upper arm nicely without pulling tight. If it pulls tight, you need to do an extra row of squares. All right, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about there. Now, the next bit is super easy. All we need to do now is turn around and start working on the base of our work. So turning your work around like so, this is where we started. And now we're going to finish off this sleeve. All right, now here I need to chain my 2 for the corner, or 1 and 2, and I need to put 3 double crochets in the corner of the base of the sleeve. All right, and then I need to jump straight into the very next space with 3 double crochets. And I'm rushing this part because guess what, you pretty much know how to do it. And let me explain it to you real quickly. There you go. No, that's not working. Try it again. All right, she's not ready. So what I want you to do, remember how you were coming down this way and going through your slip stitch. That's what you're going to do here. You're going to do your cluster sets all the way across, chain 1 in the corner, slip stitch into the chain space, chain 1, complete your corner, and do the same thing all the way across. Get to that space just before your stitch mark and get ready to finalize sleeve number 1. Alrighty guys, so I asked you to crochet along the base edge. That's the base edge of your sleeve. Yours may look a little different from mine. That is normal. Not every size is the same, okay? And not every measurement is the same. So you need to pop a cluster set in your very last space before your corner. Now, if you remember correctly, our corner consists of a complete corner here. All right, so all we're doing here is pop that in there, slip stitch to join like normal, remove your stitch marker, chain 1, pull up a loop. Now remember to check your work, make sure everything is correct, and then you give it a cut like that and pull that thread through. Now, turning your piece around, leave that tail. You may notice already that I have weaved in all ends that's been on my piece from before. Now, you've saw them before, they're gone now. I weave them in. I tell a lie, look, one is still there. It's the last row that's still there, yeah? But weave in all your ends, but you know what? Leave, and even weave that one there in. Weave that in under your, oh, so far away. Weave it in under your set there. But leave this end, and I'll tell you why in a second, because that just shows you that that is the base of our jacket. That will be, and let me show you, I'll close it over. That will be the sleeve, the base right there. All right. Now it's a little bit big for me. Yes, it is a little bit big, but that's because up on top of my arm, as you can see already, and it's not even up the top yet, it's already starting to get a little tighter. Now when we do our ribbing, that's going to close up a little. So it's going to kind of look a little like this when we do our ribbing. It's going to crunch up a little. So don't think that this is the length of your sleeve. It's not. We're going to have quite a bit of ribbing, between 5 and 7 centimeters or 2 to 3 inches. All right. So it's going to be a lot bigger, the ribbing. However, if you've given yourself that extra let's say the extra squares there, and yours is already long enough, when you do the ribbing, it'll be only 2 or 3 little centimeters, 1 inch, 1.5 inches, depending on how much space you have from here down to your wrist, or from here down to your wrist, or from here down to your wrist. All right. Either way, you'll be popping on a little ribbing. Okay. If it's long, or a big ribbing if it's shorter. That's the idea. It doesn't matter if you made yours a little shorter than it should be. We're going to have a big ribbing. All right. Just heads up there. All right. So you have now completed part 8 of your jacket. Get excited, guys. Now what we're going to do with part 9 and 10, we're going to join them. So get excited on that. For now, what you do need to do, however, is do one more sleeve exactly the same way as you have created your sleeve today. Meet me back here in about 2 weeks' time and we will do parts 9 and 10 together. So we're going to do parts 9 and 10 together because it won't take long to do part 9, and I'm assuming we're getting very close to the end of the year where we need to complete our jacket. Now, if you're joining us new, it is an annual project. It's a project that we've been creating throughout the year at different stages. So we're going to be finishing our jacket just before Christmas. So exciting. The bonus is if you have made this for someone else, you can give your jacket to them as a gift for Christmas. It's very exciting. All right. So thank you very much for joining us here today. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Do all the wonderful things that you guys pretty much already do for me. And join us on our lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons, 10 a.m. Saturday mornings, Melbourne, Australia time. Marry that up with your country. And I will see everyone very soon. Ciao for now.